In a small town, there lived a young man named Rajan who was known for his bright ideas and sharp intellect. From an early age, Rajan showed promise in everything he did. He could solve complex puzzles in a blink, outsmart his friends at chess, and always had creative solutions to problems. However, there was one major issue that held him back. Rajan couldn't focus. While he had all the potential to excel, Rajan spent most of his time bouncing from one distraction to the next: gaming, social media, and the endless barrage of entertainment that filled his days. It wasn't that he didn't care, he just couldn't seem to direct his energy in the right way. Despite his abilities, Rajan never made real progress in anything. He often found himself frustrated, thinking, "I know I can do better, but I can't stay focused long enough to make it happen." His parents, noticing his potential, tried talking to him. "Rajan," they would say, "you have the talent, but you need to focus your energy. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and you're wasting it." But Rajan, like many others, thought, "I have time. I'm young, I'll get there eventually." But one day, everything changed. It wasn't a big event or an instant realization. It was just a quiet evening, sitting alone, reflecting on his life. Rajan looked at the time on his phone. Hours had passed, and he hadn't accomplished anything meaningful. The endless scrolling, the distractions, and the procrastination had left him feeling empty. It hit him. He was wasting time, and that was the one thing he could never get back. Rajan knew that in order to change his life, he had to take control of his time. He wasn't going to rely on luck or wait for the perfect moment. The next day, he decided to make a shift, a small change that could make all the difference. He committed to focusing on the present moment, using his time wisely, and sharpening his mind through consistent habits. Rajan's journey began the very next morning when he decided to wake up earlier than usual. The first habit he built was waking up early, just 30 minutes earlier than his usual routine. It wasn't about making drastic changes, it was about starting his day with purpose. By waking up early, Rajan was able to take control of the start of his day instead of feeling rushed. He spent the extra time organizing his thoughts, planning his goals, and setting the tone for the rest of his day. He knew that if he could win the first few hours, the rest of the day would follow suit. As the days passed, Rajan's mornings became more intentional. He didn't just wake up, he started with purpose. He started reading a book instead of scrolling through his phone. He drank water, stretched, and prepared his mind for the day ahead. Little by little, he noticed the changes. He felt clearer, more focused, and more in control. He had begun to break free from the distractions that had once held him captive. But waking up early wasn't enough. Rajan realized that a sharp mind needs a sharp body. The second habit he embraced was physical activity. He wasn't a fitness fanatic, but he understood that moving his body could clear his mind. Every morning after his routine, Rajan would go for a 15-minute walk. It wasn't intense, just enough to get his blood flowing. Over time, Rajan realized that the physical exercise not only energized his body, but also sharpened his focus. His brain felt more alert, his thoughts clearer, and his ideas flowed more easily. As the days turned into weeks, Rajan began to see the power of these habits. But there was one more thing he needed to address: his constant need for entertainment. He realized that every time he felt bored or distracted, he'd dive into his phone or turn on the TV. This need for instant gratification had been sabotaging his focus. The third habit he developed was limiting distractions. Rajan decided to set clear boundaries for his screen time. He would turn off notifications, leave his phone in another room while working, and only allow himself breaks after a set amount of focused time. The first few days were tough. He felt like he was missing out on something. But as the weeks went by, Rajan's ability to stay focused improved dramatically. His productivity soared, and his creativity reached new heights. The more he limited distractions, the sharper his mind became. As Rajan continued with his new habits, something incredible began to happen. He noticed that his days were no longer just a blur of tasks. Instead, they had structure, and his mind had begun to operate with laser-like focus. But despite these improvements, there was one more challenge he had to face: the belief that his past mistakes could never be undone. For years, Rajan had believed that if he didn't accomplish something big early on, he'd never get the chance again. He worried that it was too late to change, that his window for success had passed. But his grandfather, who was always a source of wisdom, reminded him of something crucial. It's never too late to start fresh. One evening, while they were sitting together, his grandfather said, "Rajan, you've already taken the first step. Time is your ally, not your enemy. What you do today will shape tomorrow." The most successful people don't get there by rushing. They get there by staying steady, learning continuously, and never giving up on themselves. His grandfather's words stayed with Rajan, and that night, he decided to make a commitment. To not just stay focused, but also to learn something new every day. This became his fourth habit: daily learning. He set aside time every evening to read, watch insightful videos, or practice a new skill. Sometimes it was a chapter from a book, other times it was a tutorial for learning new software, but Rajan never stopped feeding his mind with valuable knowledge. The more he learned, the more his confidence grew, and his mental clarity sharpened even further. But there was one final habit that Rajan implemented: rest and reflection. At first, Rajan had thought that working non-stop was the key to success. But he quickly realized that his mind, just like his body, needed rest to function at its best. Every evening, he would take 10 minutes to reflect on his day, what he had learned, what he could improve, and how he could use his time more wisely tomorrow. These moments of reflection became incredibly powerful, helping him stay on track, measure his progress, and adjust his approach when necessary. Over the next few months, Rajan's transformation was evident. He had not only built strong habits, but his life was beginning to fall into place. His focus had improved dramatically, and he started applying his skills to projects that excited him. He no longer felt trapped by distractions or the pressure to live up to others' expectations. Instead, Rajan had created his own path, built on consistent effort and mental sharpness. Then, one day, he received an email. A project he had applied for months ago had been approved. His hard work and perseverance had paid off. Rajan realized something important. It wasn't about waiting for the perfect opportunity. It was about preparing yourself so that when an opportunity came, you were ready. Rajan had proven that anyone could change their life by staying mentally sharp and focusing on the right habits. Time wasn't something to be feared or wasted. It was a tool, one that, when used wisely, could lead to success. With his new mindset, Rajan was no longer stuck. He was moving forward, creating a future that was entirely his own. Rajan's journey proves that staying mentally sharp is about small, consistent habits. Waking up early, staying active, limiting distractions, learning daily, and resting, these simple habits can transform your life. You too can unlock your potential by starting with just one habit today. Remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. If you found this story inspiring, like, subscribe, and comment below on which habit you're starting with today. Let's grow together. Your future starts now.